again. We wanna dose of this right now it's KDA. I'm a goddess with a blaze. 소리쳐봐 내 이름 잊지 못하게 loud 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 loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bad girl yeah yeah. And when I start to talk that oh you know how to react. I'ma put your perfect face with that wild in my veins. You can hear it in my growl 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 growl. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 다 있어.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to the unofficial cast of the LPL Week 5 Day number 2 of the Spring Split 2019. I'm Jenny Rivajuli, and with me on the desk for today are Sin, Lewis, and Cage. And we're going to be bringing to you guys today's game between FPX and LGD, and later on in the day, RW versus Sunning Gaming. So, our first set FPX versus LGD. I mean, FPX, they're the big dogs coming in to this first series undefeated, I think, in the LPL so far. How do we think they're going to go today, guys?
Undefeated, unequivocally at the top. The second place team, 4-1, Suning, along with top spot. Suning is the only team they lost to is FPX, so they definitely look to be the strongest team thus far. And a lot of that comes down to the strength of the mid-jungle duo of Tian and Doinby. We've seen them invest a lot in the last series versus Team WE in that Lysandra and Aatrox combination, and how it is able to 2v2 skirmish and pressure opposing mid lanes, get to the point where they can roam around the map and play together. And in those wins that they're getting, 60% of their kills they get are directly together. The two of them are a powerhouse, and that is how FPX look to win the game, by putting all the pressure through mid and leaving bot lane with to be self-sustainable with its resources.
Yeah, and on the other side, we obviously have LGD. So LGD coming hot off a 2-0 win over world champions IG. Don't think many people expected that. Honestly, right now, the way they're looking like is kind of like a long-distance relay race team, where Condi, fresh off the heel of, actually coming alive in that IG series. Sorry, I'm peeking. Continuing. Gets his team early leads and is coming back and just tries to hold it out long enough for Kramer to come alive, or something like a Kai'Sa, or like pretty much Kai'Sa or Ezreal in the late game, and hope that he can carry that. Despite them, winning the early game, they still go to 5 items most of the time. So it's it is kind of rough. They've not truly found their groove yet, but I think they might have a chance today.
It really comes down to what they pick, because in 9.2 we've seen so much importance on that mid game. Yes, LGD has used a lot of their early games to kind of get a lead and then sometimes make it work, but generally not. And FunPlusX definitely seems like the team that makes the mid game work with these Gragas picks, with these Elise picks, and pretty much anything Tian does in the jungle seems to be working. So I really want to see something out of LGD today where you pick something good for the mid game and actually win out that early game through your bot lane.
Yeah, Tiana's been so strong in terms of the more recent series. You've seen him gain in confidence as the split's gone on. He started off by playing things like the Sejuani, going into Gragas, and now the Aatrox, showing this growth, showing this increasing strength and increasing reliability from him, even when you put him on these more carry-oriented picks. So I'm excited to see if he continues to develop in that way, and it's definitely Doinby playing these facilitative picks like the Lysandra, setting him up so efficiently. But on the other side as coming off of an amazing series last time around for D, if he can have that similar performance like he did against IG, be able to shut him, then he can relax. He has Kramer and likely RD in the bot lane to carry through. So all shutting down that mid lane 2v2, that his bot lane is the superior, and a lot of that will come down to the draft if they can get a superior bot lane and get Kramer in a comfortable matchup where he can scale happily.
That's Kai'Sa.
In normal circumstances, I would just say, like, okay, after that series, Condi's never getting to play all. But in the current meta, you kind of have the problem that you have to ban on both sides so many picks that honestly, fitting an Olaf ban into the first three bans is pretty much impossible. So we might actually see this today.
Yeah, the Olaf coming back from would be a big pickup. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can get him on these sort of aggressive playmaking early game junglers. But as you said, Tian and Doinby aren't going to let him off as easily as Rookie did.
Definitely not. And another thing to look at when we look at draft phases, it's Cassiopeia. In their last series against WE, FunPlus did not, in fact, ban that Cassiopeia. They let it go. It didn't even get played. And honestly, they looked fine not playing it, knowing that WE couldn't play it. I don't know if we're going to see that out of LGD. I have to say that they have an answer if that comes up.
Talking about whether I think they'll have an answer for that this game, guys, you brought up a lot of really good points about FPX, about LGD's win over IG last time. So leading off that, I just want to get your guys' opinions on how you think this series is going to shake up today. What are we predicting? Do we think LGD are going to pull their last win out like that again, or no?
So I do think that are going to be able to put up more of a fight, but it fully relies on Condi not being the coin flip player that he has been through so much of the split. If he can have the same level of early game aggression again, really excited to see him step up and be a huge threat to the undefeated squad. At the same time, I think we really have to be worried for them as Tian has just looked so consistent all split, and out Condi even slightly. Where are the plays being made for LGD?
Yeah, what what I really would like to see is you keep picking up a full early game skirmish mid laner that can really his own in a 2v2, or just play a pick that opts out of mid lane, something like a Karma. I can just throw a Mantra Q into the wave and just back off, because if you don't let the 2v2 skirmish happen, at that point Condi rest of the map has to can directly with Tian and not with Tian and Dornby as a 2v2 combo. And I think at that point they can maybe make it to the point where Kramer is relevant and they can actually take a series. So I'm hesitant to say they're gonna take it, but I really want them to show is life. The dragon is alive.
Cage, what about you?
Well, as much as I want the dragon to be, I think we've just seen so much domination out of a Phoenix, the other mythical beast in this matchup, that honestly, they don't look stoppable. They always get the right picks that they want. They always get the Aatrox, the Urgot, no matter what, because they always have to rely on the other team banning away these 80 carries away from LWX because of how strong he looks on literally all of them. He's played a lot of Kai'Sa, sure, but if he wants to pull out that Kalista that we saw last week, or the Caitlyn even that we saw last week, he can absolutely do that. And on 9.2, it's still so easy for them to get around these draft fate. I think FunPlus just looks unstoppable.
All right, sounds like you guys mostly think that FunPlus are going to be taking this series, except for that bit of hope from Lewis for LGD. But with that, guys, we're going to be sending our series over to our casters, AC and Ibriz, guys.
Thank you, Ray Richu, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the caster desk for this first game between FunPlus and LGD. My name is AC, and I'm here with Ibris to bring you all the action in and out of the for this phenomenal best-of-3 game. Ibris, how you doing, man?
Good morning, AC, and hello, audience. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Happy to be here. Happy to see some high quality, you'd hope, League of Legends this morning. And yeah, pretty damn good, all things considered. How about you, AC?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good myself. I mean, we're looking at a very interesting game where FunPlus right now are still undefeated, and LGD just came out of a win against the favorite team in the LPL. I'm pretty sure the desk already dismantled this whole matchup, but I just wanted to state that LGD against IG, if they keep up that type of performance, or I don't know, if they keep catching their opponents off guard, they might actually still look for a place at the top, but it's FPX in the way of LGD right now.
I mean, not only that, but it was a 2-0 against Invictus Gaming from LGD, as we saw. And yeah, I just cannot even begin to say how much of an upset that game was, or well, that series was. And now FunPlus Phoenix really looking to cement themselves as that top tier team in the league. Doinby in particular, this guy in the mid lane, is gonna be the player to watch this time around, I think, having put on some phenomenal carry performances per games.
Champion Select is live, and FunPlus Phoenix is on the blue side with LGD starting off on the red side. The bans are already out, and Lissandra is the first pick for FPX. Still a patch 9.2 with the 9.3 hotfix and no Frost. Anyway, but Camille in the jungle could still be a thing.
Vague recollections of last week's games from FunPlus Phoenix, and I do believe that Doinby went 9 kills in both games last week. So yeah, fairly good pickup, especially since this guy, you've seen him on his Kled mid, you've seen him on Count Intermission. It's kind of ironic that he's now picking a more conventional mid laner, but he's so
pick for top lane of LGD. They already banned out Urgot. So Fun Plus Phoenix could not first pick Urgot into that Yorick, but LGD are actually going to support themselves on the Camille, potentially in the jungle. Reminder, this is still 9.2, so it's prior to Camille's heavy nerfs in the jungle.
Yep, so Camille's still relevant, you have the Aatrox that's still a ban, and as well as that, Akali is still a potential pick that we may see here from either of these teams. The Varus Tahm Kench lane is incredibly safe, but also applies a decent amount of pressure and gives a valid win condition into the hands of LWX and Crisp here.
So with the Varus, but we haven't seen Varus in the longest of times, but it makes sense that he's being paired with Tahm Kench because he's basically there to be his safety net. Now they do have the Kaisa, but the Lissandra as a lockdown tool, and with the Aura being blind picked, Fun Plus Phoenix have a few options here to counter pick, but surely LGD will be cutting those off against FPX.
And you know what's another tragedy is the fact that Varus, we are seeing him now, but it's likely that we'll just see him fall off yet again next patch, because you'll have the likes of your Ashe coming back into the meta, your likes of your Sivir snowballing up in priority. Ezreal actually making it through picking bans this time around is fairly telling of the state of both of these teams, where they're saying, look, yes, we have Ezreal players, but we don't need that champion to just get through this.
No, they don't. I mean, you can still see an Ezreal in another lane, but since Frostmancy isn't really a thing anymore, he might be relegated to the bot lane exclusively. Now, LGD, like I said, focusing around the top side of the map, took out Renekton. Jace is still a possibility. Zin's out, taken away from Tian.
Now, Renekton is given signature pick. He has picked it 3 times. I believe he's won in all of those times after dominating lane phase. And while Yorick, he's a lane bully, but Renekton, gonna give him a run for the money in that department. Can just duel him straight up, heal up when there are ghouls around him with the Q, but that's a lot of hypotheticals to go into about a champion that is sadly banned away this time around.
Yes, it is. Oh, hey, it's a Morgana as well being hovered, but it's going to be the lock-in on a support. Apparently, he's going to be paired up with a Kaisa. With Alistar banned, the options are slightly limited, but there's still a huge pool that LGD. It looks like it's going to be the Morgana locked in here for the support role of LGD.
Now, Morgana makes a lot of sense here just because Tahm Kench is a winning matchup into pretty much every melee support. Yes, Alistar needed to be taken away there because if you manage to hard engage onto the Tahm Kench, obviously you do hit the Varus as well. The Fiddlesticks ban, actually in first edition we didn't really touch on, but that is RD's signature pick at this point. It is what snowballed them to a victory in LGD series over IG, and whoa, okay.
Locked in here for the jungle of Tian. It's not really an early game level 1-2 jungler as you would expect from a Zinzao or Camille, but it's still a very respectable threat here. And FPX hovering with the Fiora means that they'll have a very aggressive team comp. It's locked in, the Fiora's locked in. Very aggressive team comp. Very little tools to soak up damage apart from Kindred's ultimate, really.
Okay, Fiora notoriously lackluster early game, but still amazing split push threat later on. As well as that, just the sheer amount of disengage from the rest of this composition is really good, so it allows her to just sit in a side lane, farm pressure. Plus, Tahm Kench can rotate with the Abyssal Voyage, get to this Fiora in a side lane, back her up in that scenario, and as well as that, the individual top lane matchup. Fiora, her dash is on like a 1-second cooldown, if that, later on in the game. And then, so if Yorick drops the cage on her, just instantly get out of there. All in lies for himself.
Now we do that. We need to address the fact that Fiora is heavy counter to Yorick, since Yorick can't really lock her down inside his cage.
Top lane will be something to watch because it's such a recent addition to the meta. We've seen it emerge, we've seen what it can do, we've seen the legitimate split push threat that both of these top lanes can present. But Gimgu's recent form just suggests to me that, well, FPX certainly do have some sort of an advantage coming into this, regardless of the status of the fans there. Lies having a sign for himself there. Just a lot of support being given over to this LGD gaming lineup, who have, you know, this organization that has been in the LPL for quite some time now.
They have. Since 2012, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, though. Yeah, since 2012, it's the creation of the LGD brand. but they've been in the LPL ever since. Had their kind of a peak back in 2015, but ever since then they've been in a downward spiral, and right now they're close to the bottom of the table. They're facing against one of the top teams, Fun plus Phoenix. However, they still pack in the momentum that they gained from beating Invictus Gaming, the world champions. Could this be a sign that LGD are back? We'll have to see inside the Summoner's Rift as we take one last look at the lineups and their rosters.
And now, again, I cannot stress how important the split push matchup for this top laner is. So you have Gimgoon with this Fiora that does so well into the Yorick, but on the other hand, you cannot sleep on Lies.
You cannot sleep on Lies, and here we go. First game of this best of 3 series between Fun plus Phoenix and LGD. We already oversaw the first motion, so probably not a lot of contestation around the bottom side of the map. But I think LGD will try to dictate. Something happened.
Something did happen. It looked like an LGD invade, and then they immediately punished Crisp. No summoners actually forced across the board, though, so FPX somewhat okay with that. But more importantly, look at the red wards deep inside the bot lane jungle of this Fun plus Phoenix lineup.
Yeah, Elias actually was roaming around with the rest of the LGD's lineup, so I guess they introduced a lot of aggressive vision. They still want to go for it. Shots in Doinby, but he flashed into his tower into safety. Fun plus Phoenix already is summoner down, but LGD still want to promote this aggressive play with Tion trying to start the red buff. Could they steal it? They're going in. Hook shot, but doesn't get the steal. Could be bad news. It's so much to get that buff. Condi, ignited, already flashed. First blood is in order for Tion. One more auto attack should be enough. And it gets the first blood. However, in the bottom side, they trade blood for blood as Kramer tries to hop back in and get LWX, but doesn't find a target.
Fairly awkward that the Varus with lethal tempo did not come ahead out in that trade. Were particularly clutch. You had Kramer just consistently dishing out DPS on this Kaisar as well. Condi kind of just gave up, let Tion run him down before there was any chance of Yuki picking up that, of Doinby picking up that kill by rotating down. Just wanted to give the kill over to Kindred regardless. But I do believe that Kindred had Camille marked as well. So Tion did get a marker ahead of everything. Like just
and
the
now,
2-minute mark, insane for the Kindred.
Look at, oh no, Condi's still level 1. He hasn't found a buff yet. Now he finds Tion in his own jungle. He's forced a hookshot away, and Tion has his second red buff. Condi, 3 minutes into the game, still at level 1. This is desperately not what you want to see from an early game jungler like Camille. The smite goes down, doesn't pick up the red buff, and concedes it to Condi.
Actually, that was so tragic that Tion did not pick that have smite back yet after the skirmish from earlier. Yeah, really unlucky for him.
Thank Mr. Tion for leash.
Yeah, leash was pretty good. But on the other hand, so many summoners blown in the bottom side, especially on this Tahm Kench in particular. So Crisp really going to look to be suspect if he eats another binding, if Condi finally gets a tempo to dictate any of his pressure towards the bottom side of the map.
I mean, if Tion would have acquired that red buff, the tempo advantage would be 100% on Tion's side. But Condi, having that red buff, he can now promote a level 2 gank coming down into bottom lane, but the timing might not be ideal since level 3.
Still no flash on this Tahm Kench. Varus does still have it. LWX, you are kind of safe, but taking a sizable amount of damage, but Lies may take some damage of his own here.
Oh, now Tion in the top lane looks for Lies. Lies immediately cages him in as Condi looks for the gank in the bottom lane. And he gets consumed out, but there goes the kill. Kramer kills Crisp for the second time this game.
And we said it was particularly important that this Tahm Kench was that's exactly what happens. Just immediate gank from the Camille. This champion's kind of removed from the game next patch, but this patch, still legitimate carry threat. You saw just what in the World Finals, you saw why Camille jungle had to be nerfed. And, well, you're just seeing it again. How good the early pressure from this champion is, even when they're so far behind, even when he's still level 2 at this point of the game.
He is. I mean, I know you want to force level 2 ganks with Camille, but this is just absurd now. With an all-in from Doinby going straight on top of Yuki, deals a lot of damage and probably forces that Corki under his tower for a little while longer. Condi's still at level 2, just got himself a blue buff.
And now Doinby is kind of brainlessly shoving here. I say brainlessly, but it makes sense because he knows that his jungler is near him. But the fact that Lissandra is pushing so haphazardly does exactly where Tion is on the map. But RD and Condi make another rotation.
going for the bottom lane, doesn't get the stun off. Chris might be looking for the consume, but he's making his AD carry lose way too much
Finding.
HP. He still doesn't have flash available.
Teleport.
LWX is forced to flash forward. The teleport is connecting, but he's way too late. The teleport can be canceled, and now he's between a rock and a hard place as LGD grant themselves 3 frags for the price of nothing.
LGD doing it again, taking against a top tier team. That was absolutely insane. Did you see the binding connect waiting out the riposte perfectly, or perhaps just a misplay from Gimgoon there? Disrespect. Obviously, you can't cancel the teleport anymore, so the Fiora immediately found herself in deep, deep trouble, and you saw just how this play was set up. So now, Tom Kench no flash to just wait out until he's forced to eat the Varus who's taking loads of damage. Then you drop the Q on the Tom Kench, CC both bot laners for the price of one. The Fiora completes the TP, but it's an early game Fiora. What's it gonna do? The riposte does go wide on the binding. Look, immediate flash. He could not have predicted the flash binding from RD there. Or well, he could have, but still amazing.
He couldn't have done anything. If he would have riposted the binding, he would still have collected the hook shot from Kandi. And damage would still be the same. Now, Kandi, who had such a troublesome early game, Tion not able to punish him, means that Kandi now is 1-1-3. Super aggressive around the map. CS input isn't that great, but it doesn't matter when you're having so much activity and so much disruption throughout the board.
And yeah, this jungler is 1-1-3. Kondi is doing a decent job of this early game. We said that usually he's kind of invisible. He does turn it on around the Baron pit, but right now he's applying a decent amount of pressure despite having been down across the board in the early game. To be honest, he was almost counted out by the fact that Kindred got his red, by the fact that the Kindred didn't get his red, but got a red on the invade, got a kill, got a mark, that kind of thing. But okay, on the topic of kill participation, both of these bot laners have 100% kill participation, and we've seen just how good Kramer is at carrying these games by himself.
And Crisp being 0-3, we could say that Crisp isn't looking that
Too
crisp.
Ooh.
Exactly. See,
Come
we
on,
think
man.
alike.
Puns are mine. We do. I guess that was fairly low-hanging fruit, though.
It was pretty low-hanging fruit. Now, Tion is looking for some ganks here in the bottom lane. Maybe try to get some punishing, effect on LGD. Kramer already on the 600 bounty over him. Tion, I think he got spotted. He just walked out the brush, but RD isn't too phased by the presence of Tion if they did spot him. Kramer's going to walk right into the Kindred. He wasn't spotted, or they're waiting for Kandi to be in position to actually be able to engage. Kandi is more concerned dealing with the Grump right now.
Yep, so the Grump was Kindred marked, so it does become a legitimate priority here. It's pretty much a neutral objective at that point. Anytime the Kindred has a mark in your jungle, immediately make a beeline for that camp, simply because either you'll deny her a out of position, and it's especially important that they do that when the bot and when the mid lane Corki also finally managed to get tempo advantage back onto Doinbe's Lissandra. And it's that priority from both of these lanes that allows them just immediately rush to Drake this time around.
And it was a great timing. I don't think they ever knew Tion was down there, but they regardless rotated to the Dragon, secured it, and now they have free because they have full priority on the bottom half of the map. Tion kind of disappeared in his own jungle. 6, but not there quite yet.
I mean, he got a free mark, he got a free kill early on. What more could you want, to be honest? Yes, you could have taken the enemy red, but you had a solid 2-level lead for a good amount of the early game. And I'm not a fan of what we've seen so far because there's not been a lot of conversion from that micro lead that was given over to this jungler this time around. Now, I want to draw your attention back to the top lane. You see Gimgoon getting to carve that tiniest bit of a CS lead for himself, despite the mishap earlier. And now Doinbe could maybe look for Yuki, but that cleanse is all important for this Corki this time around.
It is. Frozen Tomb was not utilized just yet. However, we're going to have a 2v2 situation here as Kandi could have been spotted here on the mid lane. Tion is more focused on securing that Scuttlecraft for himself. Marcus on Kandi in the top lane lies right now, gained advantage over this matchup after securing, after Gingun's teleport into the bottom lane. So he's just full forcing the push here.
So Liza's pushing blindly-ish here. Knows that, well, so there's a lot of respect given to him by Fun Plus Phoenix because they know that Kondi is likely going to be topside because they haven't seen him on all of this bot side vision that they've got for themselves. It's about where they're thinking this Camille jungle is. And actually this Camille jungle, not level 6 yet. Wow.
Now level 6, if
Oh.
they're going straight for Yuki, cleanse and flash out of the scenario, but Tion still managed to get the last auto attack off and get the kill on Yuki.
And Condi, he's doing a damn good job of ganking the bot lane, but besides that, what seems like 3 ganks in the bottom side really not being backed up by anything else, really. Nothing really concrete by way of farm, as you said.
Oh, hey.
And still level 5 here. Oh, yeah.
And now what happens, because he's locked between a rock and a hard place, it's 2v3, but they still forced to disengage out of Doinby. No mana. Condi, calculated risk.
Yeah, that was a little bit close for comfort. Lucky on that final level up. Like, well, if there ever was a time to hit 6, that was probably it, to be honest. Just save yourself from the red smite. And yeah, Condi does not end up burning down to Tion here. Tion just having time of his life now. After that free kill early, didn't really do much. Was a bit of criticism from us about that relatively quiet early game from the Kindred, but he's just happy to farm it out, farm it up, get more and more relevant longer the game goes on this champion in particular. Doinby managing to find a kill early on is pretty much what you'd come to expect. Tion and Doinby in particular have a lot of good synergy as of recent and really start to pressure their opposing numbers. Haven't seen much room for Doinby this game, but we could see it longer the lane phase goes on. And now you have that constant threat of Yuki's package really starting to come online. Yes, he didn't really do much with it this time, but next time it should be very important. Oh, he still has it.
He still has it. He might be using it right now.
Oh.
His cleanse is in cooldown. Doinby's Frozen Tomb is nearly out of the cooldown effect. But now we have the rotation of Kramer going top lane. But he's not going to be accompanied by RD just yet.
RD just with his jungler get Condi into a decent ganking position. As well as that, you want Morgana to just lay down as much vision as possible, really. And it's that vision that towards the top side that allows them to get the drop on what would presumably be a Rift Tower. But now Doinby may be in trouble.
Oh, Frozen Tomb is already available
Yuki.
right in Yuki. The Black Shield comes in a little bit late. Tion secures his 3rd kill of the game, and RD seems to be the next one in line as he stopwatches his way into safety for 2.5 second flashes, but it's still a double kill over to Tion.
Beautiful pickup from Tion, and just decent rotation from FunPlus in general. Really, really good idea to bring the Tom Kench mid with the Abyssal Voyage. You said it yourself that RD was on that bit of a roam for himself. Did not roam fast enough to drop the Black Shield on Yuki to deny that initial Lissandra ult. The cleanse was not back up yet, so just good timing of cooldowns, good track LGD from this FunPlus Phoenix lineup.
And a free first blood tower for the blue team here. As you saw Kramer free farming in the top lane, might not be good news for FunPlus Phoenix, but it's still great for LGD to have currently their only carry in such a good position. But
and now look, so this Lissandra ulti immediately came down. No cleanse available, Black Shield a little bit late, and then just good rotation. You have the Tom Kench joining extra damage, a little bit extra slow, a little bit disincentivization for any rotation who still had the Hextech ultimatum available to him.
Now, what's concerning me about FunPlus Phoenix is that 4 are in Tion's pocket. He is right now currently the only carry that they have available in their lineup. If he goes down, there's very little damage output from FunPlus Phoenix throughout. I mean, there's damage output, but there's not. Yes?
Did you see how many hunts that Kindred had completed at the 13.5-minute mark?
I was looking for it, but I did not see it. How many?
10.
10 hunts at the 13. I mean, I'm not surprised considering the 4 kills that Tion holds. So 10 hunts. It is, yeah, it's 10 hunts. It's right there on the screen right now.
Yeah.
10 hunts, 13 minutes in is absurd.
For any viewers wondering, the good mark to aim for 18, 19, 20-minute mark. I'd say actually more 15-minute mark now because teamfights have emerged earlier in the meta. You want to aim for at least 4 stacks. And we've seen it in competitive a couple of times where they just get that much, but could see a different fight here. Nope, Rift Herald is secured. But yeah, so Kindred, 4 marks by the time team fights break out. Now she has 10 before laning phases ended.
Not good news for LGD, I would say, which is going to difficult though. Wait, Condi. You can see this Fed Tion. But yeah, not good news for LGD having such a strong Kindred so early on. She's going to be extra difficult to take down since her auto attack range is going to be increased. So her safety range is also going to inherently increase.
Another issue that I'm seeing with this is the fact that Kindred is the hyper carry jungle. Besides the Camille E, you have nothing to really stun or CC her to prevent the dropping of the ultimate. So this
Yeah.
Kindred is always going to get out a solid at least 4 to 5 seconds of auto attacks. And when she has this many stacks, when she's going to get that many items.
Oh, in goes Lies, in goes Condi. Doinby tries to secure as much time as he can, but he still manages to die to the hands of Yuki. Next one in line is Tian. It's a huge Condi.
I just cast a curse to you so hard, Tian. I'm so sorry. But I was going to say this Kindred can dish out a good amount of damage regardless of the amount of damage being put onto her because of that ultimate. But you saw just how ineffective that is in the 2v4 scenario. Doinby immediately dropping, getting blast coned out of the Kindred ultimate was very cute. And then Tian just being focused down. You don't even need CC, just completely shredding this relatively squishy hypercarry jungler, and now shredding through this mid lane turret as well.
Yep, this mid lane turret isn't going to be long for this world as LGD secure their first structure, but that's the power of the Hextech ultimatum. You're not going anywhere, and you're just a sitting duck for the rest of LGD CC.
Good flash with the hook shot as well to immediately stun Doinby and then force Lissandra ult defensively.
Oh, Tian
knocked out with the was a bit giga unlucky on that blast cone, and then just the Kindred ult being waited out before being turned around with the burst. Maybe with 20 marks he'll be able to burst down someone in a 1v4 scenario. Who knows?
Who knows? 4-1 isn't quite enough to 1v5 just yet, but that was a mispositioning from Fun Plus Phoenix, giving LGD some room to and resetting Tian's bounty fundamentally. But now the bounty's on Condi's head for 150 gold for the jungler of LGD and another 600 for Kramer.
As well as that, you have the Kindred rushing towards this Black Cleaver, which suggests that FunPlus just happy to play that mid to late game, waiting for the Fiora to join in these fights, waiting for the Varus to take full advantage of the single targets. You want to burst down Kramer, you want to burst down Yuki. Not really any kind of tank on the LGD gaming lineup. So if these characters can continue to scale, it's just going to be smooth sailing because they do so much raw DPS.
Now we're still yet in an actual skirmish in favor of LGD, but so far LGD are behind just 700 gold against FPX. Structures are equal, one tournament for both teams. And now the biggest play here is going to be circulating around the rest of the structures on the outer side of the map.
See, the issue with this for me is the fact that Gimgoon's been kept down early on, kind of, with his fumble teleport. But then since then, just zero attention being dictated towards the top side, which means this Fiora, yes, you can ignore her now, but in about 5 minutes' time, I'd say, she's going to become a legitimate split push threat, regardless of the Maiden of the Mist status, regardless of how well Lies is doing on this Yorick. And then suddenly, if you leave her alone in the side lane, you've lost half of your base to this split push champion pick.
I mean, you say that, but you're ignoring the fact that there's also Yorick in the team on LGD's side. Yorick is a bigger split push threat. We just saw last week what a Yorick can do.
I don't know about that, to be honest. I'd say
Amazing
that
J on the Yorick solo finish the game for RNG. Right.
Just wait for Gimgoon to solo finish this game is all I'm saying. Now, Yorick is really good at pushing PvE-wise, but him and out sustain him, especially now that she's got the Ravenous Hydra. And once she gets a couple more items, it's just going to be even more oppressive. And there will come a point where Lies legit passes this champion, because who can lane versus a Fiora later on. So LGD really looking to close not only before the Fiora comes online, but while the Corki is relevant, while the Camille is relevant, before these champions that are notorious for their oppressive early games really start to fall off.
We already have the Trinity Force online in both Fiora. 18 minutes have elapsed since the start of the match. The next Inferno have elapsed. The next dragon is going to be an Infernal in just 5 seconds, but LGD are preparing. A little bit of a trap, but as FPX are caught off guard, Tian is the first one to be dropped low, but not dead just yet as Crisp consumes him. LGD are trying to scatter away, but the first one down is Skull as fast as he can, being found by Crisp. He can probably out-trade him for the time being. Could be securing his third kill of the skirmish, but as soon as the Fiora spotted, he turns tail and runs.
Don't be looking to cut him off here.
He's gonna get cut off and shut down. Goes to Gimgoon. It's a
solid outplay by Kramer there, just forced Tom Kench slash on the back of that though, which means that this all-important cooldown later on is gonna be out. Really good turnaround from FunPlus Phoenix there, just turned the fight on its head, and Gimgoon. Teleport was a little late, but better late than never. Had to get away from the Yorick, because obviously if Yorick does position his wall close enough, he can interrupt the teleports. Yep. So, just really good play. And LGD waiting in this brush, found a target they were happy with, locked down the targets you see besides that hook shot. So could not stop the Kindred ult from going out. Otherwise, that would have been a lot more clean, you have to imagine. And now teleport's coming in while Kramer's just dashing in and out of this backline. And we said how important it is for FunPlus to shut down this this LGD AD carry. Well, once she gets into a fight, gets out of a fight, you can just ignore her, kill the rest of the team, and then pick off Kramer at your luxury.
And now I was discussing the fact that FPX had no tanks in their lineup, but I forgot to mention that LGD have no tanks of themselves, and even worse, some sort of peel in their backline. They can keep LWX nice and secure inside Crisp's belly. Said about Kramer. Kramer is just left to his own devices in the midst of a team fight. All you have is a black shield to defend him.
That is very true, but Kramer's champion is also notoriously more slippery than the than LWX's. Kaisa in particular, with the stealth, with the speed up, with the dashes. The champion is just one hell of a lot more mobile than Varus. Doinby, that would have been a QE to take, but by Q, I mean probably fairly hard int, so for the best they didn't take that, but now you're seeing the power of this Fiora split push pressuring in the arc already starting to really just scale really, really well. And now I do believe that Gimgoon is building towards a Triforce of his own.
Could be. The Phage is there. Also a dagger, so that is an indicative that the Trinity Force is just around the corner, or Black Cleaver with some attack speed items as well. But FPX right now focusing on the bottom side of the map. Doinby joins Gingoon to take down that outer structure from the bottom lane and apply pressure towards the Baron Nashor that they're trying to secure vision on right now. FPX have full control of that side of the map.
So FunPlus's communication in these mid to late game fights is usually pretty stellar. That's why you know they haven't really faced a challenge as of recent. And it's just how decisive they are, whether or not it's the best call of the time, but all of them go in on that very same call. That's why you saw Gimgoon side, but that's why you see them bouncing back. Full control of these teams. Better macro is because they have this confident shot calling. LGD looking a bit disjointed on the other hand. We said this Corki is spiking right now with the Triforce Rapid Fire Cannon, Sork Shoes, just Corki in general, good at this point in the game. Not really doing anything besides hemorrhaging resources across the board.
No, and Connie right now is looking for vision across the top side of the river, but not finding any in his path. So LGD are trying to secure their third structure, which is on the top lane, to match FPX's lead of 4,000 gold at the 23-minute mark. But FPX are trying to make no mistakes right now. LGD, the Baron, in eyes, several eyes. Guy's got a lot of eyes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, should we start it?
Should we start indeed? LGD, we said literally just now, FPX renowned for their decisive shot calling. LGD kind of the opposite of them penned as one of these kind of bottom tier teams. Don't really want to say it, especially since they got such a convincing turnaround victory against Invictus Gaming just recently. But yeah, and still 10 hunts only on this Kindred. So Tian not really having the greatest time of things, all things considered.
Interesting to see that he's only got 10 hunts on him since that last skirmish where there was nearly an ace, but I guess the mark was on Kramer, the one target that that FPX weren't able to kill. Regardless, he did die very, very early on that fight, which means that no marks were conceded over to Kindred. So 4-2-4. Remember that time where Tian was 4-0?
I have the lingering suspicion the 10 marks may be a visual bug, but who knows? Regardless, yeah, it's really telling just how much of an advantage this FunPlus Phoenix lineup does have. We saw they were like 1-5 heading into this mid-game, and now they just immediately turn it around. And
that's a Baron started, but
the Baron,
FPX are not in the same page as the rest of FPX's squad aren't on the same page as Tian. It takes a lot of damage and it's going to be forced back. LGD have no information about turn to bait. Not going to go all in on LGD could create Phoenix's lead.
So I don't think it was more of them being on the different pages rather than it was I think the Kindred was clearing out vision of the Baron, then Kaisar chucked out a W to check vision, it hit the Baron got angry, Baron smacked around the Kindred for a bit, and now you have a bit of a skirmish in the mid.
Doinby might be in the Frozen Tomb actually is available for Doinby, but he's going to refrain from using it at LGD collapsing on the Infernal Dragon. They want to secure one for themselves, but Tian is right around the corner to counteract
Teleport.
that Infernal. Goes in, gets the steal on Infernal. The fight goes off, flies in the front line, taking a
Doinby!
lot of damage, but in the back line, Doinby deals so much damage to Kramer that he's actually perished in the hands of Chris. Now the rest of LGD are turning tail and running off as only Lies and Condi remain alive. Never mind, scratch Condi off the list. It's a 3-for-0 plus an Infernal for consolation for FPX.
And potentially plus a Baron as well. FPX taking convincing teamfight victory, taking convincing objective control, turning it in LGD's faces there and then. You saw just how much damage is coming out of these carries and how good Doinby is at finding these engages.
Now the Baron Nashor is at hand as well with Condi dead. Lies and Yuki have nowhere to go but base. So it's double Infernal plus a Baron Nashor for fun plus Phoenix.
So now look, Gimgoon is trying to get the flank here while you have the teleport coming in from Lysandra who went base. Now Doinby immediately confidently goes forward, takes the E, takes the flash forward, locks down a priority target. And that's exactly what you need to do against this composition. Just lock someone down, pick them up, and then start rolling your snowball through the fight with the insane amount of AoE and single target DPS that your Lysandra, your Varus, and even the Kindred are pumping out right now. Fiora just happy to pick up whatever dregs of this fight she can get, whether it's a kill, whether it's assist, whether it's the Baron, the Infernal Drake, everything that goes by way of this Fiora, she'll turn into just more and more of a split push threat.
And what a threat that Fiora is right now with that Trinity Force plus the Ravenous Hydra live. I mean, she was kind of erased around the earlier stages of the game, and now at the 27-minute mark, she is as live as she can get. And I do feel like Lies, even though he is a fair matchup against Fiora, he cannot let Gimgoon to get close enough to him.
That is incredibly true. And you know, my major concern for LGD here isn't particular, but if you look at their draft as well, they're playing the likes of the Camille jungle that isn't really a thing when next patch hits. And they're playing the Kaisar with Stormrazor, which, you know, again, just the item is pretty much removed, or at least changed so heavily it's no longer a viable rush strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just calls into question, are they going to be able to adapt next patch? Because right now, they look I don't want to say uncharacteristically because they've looked this uncomfortable. It just makes last series for LGD look like more circumstance or a fluke rather than, you know, consistent rise to form that we.
I mean, LGD looked really, really strong in the first moments of this game, so you can't really put into question whether or not it was a fluke. They had their momentum coming in from their victory against IG. They've just let themselves get drowned out by FPX. Doinby in the bottom lane, putting a Whirl of Hurt to Lies, but he's managing to secure the structure for the time. Scattering thin throughout the mid and the bottom lane to defend the inhibited towers. Lies with the biggest swift clear here.
I like how Yorick's just clearing out the minions while the Maiden of the Mist is 1v1 in Gimgoon, but that could be here. Maybe not 1v1, but 3v4, but
Doinby very, very low. The Redemption comes down, heals him for quite a bit. The first structure of LGD's base goes down and exposes the mid lane inhibitor. FPX fully collapse on this objective and take it home with them.
Good pickup by FPX. They're just turning on the pressure in 2 lanes at one time. Just, you know, immediately rotating for 1 lane once they identify, look, we can commit 5 people down this. Look, we can pick up the objective. And yeah, just good use of that Baron buff. Maybe we won't get a second inhib, but still, 1 is more than enough for them to really start applying the pressure. And with mid down, you can send the rest of your team to 1 lane and have Fiora just consistently shove in and pressure the other.
Now spotted on the Krugs. LGD have this information, but they're not going to collapse on T, or at least not going to collapse too aggressively on Tion. They know their limits. They know that FPX still hold to some duration of that Baron, so they can't promote a fight just yet, but they're running out of time. FPX are closing the game faster than what LGD can scale.
Now, LGD are playing the waiting game not only for that Baron buff to go away, but also so that this Corki has now got an Infedge, so he's fairly relevant. You have the Kaisar consistently scaling, and now you also have Condi's Guardian Angel has just come back up. So if there ever was a time for LGD to fight, I'd say it's fairly soon. As you've said, just that time bomb of the FPX composition is really going to become more and more relevant. So LGD, look for something as soon as possible.
Black Cleaver on Tian, along with the Guardian Angel, will make him extra harder to take down. But Conde holds a Guardian Angel on his side as well. Tian is looking for the 4th dragon for Fun plus Phoenix. Is going to be an Ocean Dragon. No contest.
Fun plus Phoenix, more like Fun plus Dragon. I don't know. They've got a couple under their belts, as you said. Anyway, just wait to hear the pun that I've got prepared for after this game. But yeah, just a lot of pressure being applied by Gimgoon, as we said. Send 4 people down one other, or send your Lissandra going on a magical journey by herself. Doinby? Oh, okay, he's pushing out top.
He is.
And then, so the rest of FunPlus were kind of just holding LGD while Doinby went to shove out top, and then they'll go rendezvous with him, you have to imagine, and then continue to apply the pressure. No more Baron buff, but still decent enough of a lead under FunPlus's belt that they can really start to shove in the waves, as it were.
Yes. But to shove in the waves, they need a power play. They need a pick. They need something, because LGD have to spread their numbers as thin as they would because they're tucked up against their base.
Red buff fight.
Red buff fight. Tian is alone. They're going to be securing it for LGD this time around, threatening the objective, but not going to secure it for his team. Fun plus Phoenix still roaming around the top side of the map, while Gimgoon is solo pushing bot lane with no opposition so far.
Does Kindred stop stacking at 10 hunts, or legit this may be a visual bug?
Maybe a visual bug.
I think we jumped the gun. Anyway, inside of both of these teams, jungle and AD carries for both of these lineups, having that in their inventory, just adding to the duration of these prolonged fights. Lissandra flourishes in those kinds of fights. Kindred, so good at extending them, and Fiora as well, dances around. Longer the fight goes on, more vital she can proc, more chance of her getting the full duration of that ultimate heal as well. So pretty much a good time.
Oh, Hextech Ultimatum going straight for Crisp yet again. Flashback to the earlier stages of the game where Crisp was being bullied down, but in the backline you have Doinby going in. Look at the damage that Sir is dealing to the backline of LGD. Already bit the dust, and so did Lies in the bottom lane. Everyone is collapsing to the wrath of Fun plus Phoenix as LWX secures a double kill, and only Kramer is left alive to defend the honor of LGD. But will he be able to do it against 5 members of Fun plus Phoenix? It's a 1v5 scenario, and Kramer still has his Guardian Angel.
Feels so bad for Kramer here, because, you know, you're saying it's a 1v5 scenario, and that's exactly what people said about this LGD gaming lineup when we came into the season, because
he's
Kramer
trying,
is so
he
good.
Flashes back, he wants Tian, he goes in with a killer instinct, the Nexus is going down, and it is down. Unfortunate for Kramer, great fight, but amazing victory for FPX.
And FPX immediately shut down the surging LGD gaming lineup. Kramer, you tried so hard to 1v5 LGD. You had such a good early game, but it was not enough to turn it around. And you saw FPX, decisive shot calling, decisive team fighting. And Doinby, your engages were absolutely beautiful.
And beautiful they were. Tian had such a phenomenal early game, didn't quite abuse it, but it didn't matter. LGD picked up the mid game, but the late game belonged to Fun plus Phoenix, as we see here by the gold stat.
How does this guy do so much damage on Lissandra as well? We have this champion as the engaged utility mid lane pick, but just shredding through the entire lineup. Look at that 19.9k damage from this Lissandra alone. Coming out of Doinby here.
Amazing. And LGD are down in the dumps right now. 1 game for Fun plus Phoenix, but it's still not match yet, as LGD can still come back in the 2 follow-up games.
And, you know, LGD, we saw them take convincing 2-0 against IG, as we keep mentioning, but also, as well as that, having been on such a loss streak before that upset victory shows that they have the mental fortitude to bounce back between series. They can probably bounce back between games as well.
They can. They can, and they will definitely try to bounce between games. Now, we're going to pass over to the analyst desk with Rarichu and her guests to break down how Fun plus Phoenix were so dominant in this first best in game of 3.
Thank you, AC and Ibris. We are back on the desk with Sin, Lu, Cage to break down FunPlus X's win over LGD Gaming. Guys, that was a great early game from Kandi, but LGD were quite able to convert that early game advantage into an eventual win. Talk me through that.
Yeah, so like it started off, it looked so good for Tian as he was able to get the first blood onto the opposing jungler. He had such a strong setup for the early game, but Condi, he put pressure into bot lane. He didn't let the CS disadvantage get to him, and he was tiltless through that early game. And the fact that he was able to set up Kramer so well was definitely paramount to the fact that LGD was able to still compete in that game. The issue then, as top and mid, they started to snow away from them, and we saw once again the mid jungle duo that we talked about so much, Tian and Doenby, act as a force to be reckoned with. FunPlus in every single fight, and that's what turned the game around for them, winning those skirmishes over and over again.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like we have a problem with LGD coming for the mid game. Like from 10 to 25 minutes, they're kind of at a real big trough, and I think the problem really is that at that point Kramer's early game falls off, and nobody's really there to replace him. Condi might make one or two plays, but Yuki and Lies are not stepping up to really compensate for that. Yuki on the Corki designated actually for a mid game spike, an item spike on the Trinity Force, just not having the impact that he needs. Gets caught out a couple of times, and it's just not working out for them. And I really do think maybe picking some other champions could work, but I feel like they fundamentally have to address what they want to do in that time.
And I feel like one of the things they want to do in that time is get down more vision, because honestly, their vision control, especially towards the mid game, was lacking. Saw that Infernal Dragon get stolen at around the 20-minute mark just because they didn't have the vision set up, or really letting everything go. They had already lost pretty much all ground in terms of getting control wards as well as just regular wards from the support. And really, if LGD wants to succeed in these matchups, they just have to get the advantage, which they do very well, and especially Condi, who we talked about already, and then push vision into the enemy jungle. You can't let the Kindred pop off. You can't let Doinb just play safe the way he is every game and then just dominate. And in team fights, you have to focus down where you have vision. Honestly, LGD just couldn't capitalize on what they needed to because they couldn't see anyone.
The issue, but a lot of it came down to the fact that LGD, they got the early game advantage and they took it to FunPlus. You have to say they performed above our expectations coming in, but all the same, towards the mid game where FunPlus always they had all the rank 2 ultimates, and suddenly the game came online for them as Doenby, man of the match, came in clutch in so many of these fights. But you got to look at the composition here, because LGD, they wanted to throw everything at the wall. They had the Camille who wanted to dive the backline. They even had the package as well, and the Kai'Sa, all wanting to get on top of the backline. But you look at the opposing side and what they Lysandra, Varus, Tom Kench, Andra, there's no diving there. There's so much safety, and if you're the one aggressing onto that, there's so much time to peel back, disengage, turn on people who are trying to get on top of you. And that's where we saw fights like this just completely turned on the head because of the compositional strength that FPX managed to get. They knew exactly what LGD wanted to do, and they managed to capitalize on that. They had the tools to stop it.
Yeah, and I really feel like sorry.
Go ahead.
I really feel like Doinb, it's so hard to shut him down in terms of picking, because like, okay, you could say, oh, take away his Lysandra, he has a lot less playmaking.
Take away his Kled, please.
take away his Kled, take away his Galio, take away his... It's too much. I mean, I've already said, like, you can't even fit an Olaf ban in there. You can't fit like the entire champion list of Doinb in there, so it's just kind of a lost cause.
Sin, I like that you brought up that point about how in game number 1, LGD looked like they were playing better than we expected them to, but then they still lost that game and they weren't able to close that one out. So looking forward to game number 2, guys, how do you think that LG is going to do? Do we think that FPX are going to get that 2-0 that I think most of us were predict today, or no?
I think LGD, they've shown all their cards they've got on the table, and a lot of them is just trying to dive hard in the backline, play an aggressive composition, and take it to FPX. And they've shown they have the tools to play for those skirmishes more defensively, but they're the ones being engaged on. They don't have to be constantly going forward. And they showed a lot of affinity in that. And so I think FPX, the depth of strategy and the depth of style they have is far further than LGD, and that's going to lead them to get a 2-0, unless LGD can show some big adaptation in the second game.
And not only the depth,
Cage?
I was about to say, not only the depth of composition, but the width of difference between the two mid laners. So we talk about Doinby way too much, but honestly, it's well deserved. Doinby outplays pretty much everyone on every champion, and Yuki didn't look up to the challenge. Had a 1v1 that dove again afterwards, playing too aggressive. And honestly, if you're playing through your mid lane and trying to get that mid lane up on the side of LGD, it's just so impossible to do against Doinby.
Yeah, I feel like LGD is kind of stumbling forwards right now. They somehow fell into a victory against IAG, found one style that works for them, and they're just trying to take that as a blueprint for what they're going to do into FPX. And into FPX is just like it's a completely different beast, and it really doesn't fit their style. I feel like they will have to come up with a completely new system, stumble into a completely new system. I don't think they have the ingenuity to come up with something crazy, from game to game. So I feel like this is going to be a 2-0, sadly.
Lewis, you were the one before game 1 being hopeful that LGD could take the series today.
Crushed.
You look at this man, absolutely distraught.
All right, guys, and with that, we're going to go for a really short break before we come back with game number 2, and before we find out if LGD are going to bring this one back. See you guys.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for game number 2 of this amazing series between Fun plus Phoenix and LGD, where FPX took game number 1, but LGD won the grudge match here. I'm AC, and with me, I still have E. How you doing, man?
Very well, thank you. Very happy to be here, AC. Yes, indeed, I am Ibrahim. But yes, we are watching LGD and Fun plus Phoenix take to the Rift again. Now, I believe that was Doinby's fiance in the crowd. Yes, that was Doinby's fiance in the crowd. That's why the camera keeps panning to her. You saw how many Doinby signs there were in the audience as well. Just how much adoration this guy has, how much respect he has for his prowess in the 1v1, for his engage potential, for how hard he's been carrying recently.
Exactly. It makes perfect sense that he hard carried so much in that last game between them and LGD. Him playing on Alessandra dealt them. He was the top damage of the whole game. So we expect to see a similar performance in this game too. But at the same time, we want to see.
We do want to see something, at least. Yeah, as you said, just hoping for some sort of a comeback from this team that shows they have some high highs when they aim for them, but recently have just been lulling around in those very low lows.
And now let's see how they lull around the champion select as FPX take it to the blue side. Yet again, LGD opting to remain on the red side. Aatrox and Urgot are the priority bans, while Fiddle, Olaf, and Zoe are Fun plus Fix's bans of election.
For someone with fun in their name, they're not being very fun, banning out this Fiddle every game. RD's champion prowess on that is actually something really admirable, even if he's on a bottom tier team. Insane. That is what snowballed LGD to their only series overall world champions, was that Fiddlesticks pick in particular. And now being picked up, it could be an interesting viable flex pick. Still no Frostmancy because there has been that hot fix applied, even if we are on 9.2 of course. But yeah. Hello.
Alessandra banned as well, so that means that Doinby isn't going to have access to that carry champion this time around. It will his first pick on the first game, but it is going to be Karma locked in for FPX, while LGD respond with the Camille for the jungle.
Camille jungle went okay last time around in the early game despite that fumble at level 1. Obviously, the longer the game goes on, Condi becomes less and less relevant. No objectives for him to do really, because every time FPX started up an objective, Condi was already dead. As well as that, losing out in a Smite War against Tian's Kindred was a bit unfortunate, and now Kai's again being the pickup for LGD's bottom laner. Kramer, we've seen his 1v9 potential on that champion. Sadly enough, even when he was 5-1 last time around, did not get to do that, as you noted yourself, in that game-deciding team fight.
Yeah, it was the last fight. Kramer was always very absent on the fights. Mainly, I would have to argue no real backup in the backline, while FPX had their Tahm Kench to keep LWX secure. Kramer had nothing, fundamentally, apart from the black shield. Everything else was going forward, trying to get an engage, trying to get some damage down, and he was just left on the back. FPX now locking in Kindred for Tian. Yet again, they want the same type of threat in the jungle.
I want to see Sion here, even though, yes, we are in China, yes, the top laners do love, yes, they love going for the skirmish, that kind of thing, but Sion would pretty much compensate for the purported lack of engage that the Lysandra denial has, resulted in across the board. Now, Akali, not something you see on Lightning Tales 2, still a very, very valid carry threat, so we could maybe see it as a flex pick to either of these solo lanes.
True, she hasn't been completely nerfed to the ground just yet in 9.2, allowing to soon type. But I want to talk about FPX actually managed to secure Tahm Kench in the first rotation. Means that they have the opening here to have any type of hyper carry and a hyper carry immobile type champion in the bottom lane. So the pool is very open for LWX. LGD don't want to see the Varus though.
Not because of the game from LWX. Looks super comfortable with that, and you saw how devastating the Varus Tahm Kench lane is, even with all the attention that Condi gave to that bottom lane on this Camille. As well as that, we could see a bit more attention towards the supports that do okay into Tahm Kench, such as the Morganas you saw last time around, or we could just see LeBlanc being taken away again, Yuki's signature pick at this point. And what else is available to him? Because with LeBlanc being banned out, that does mean that Akali is presumably going to go towards that top side.
Lucian is still a thing, amazingly enough. taking out Jinx and taking out Varus. 9.2 Lucian is still a very relevant threat here with the crit items not being reworked just about yet. So LWX could be looking down on that pick, but LGD want to secure a flex Gragas for now. Could be going top, could be going jungle, could be... But it's going to be Ezreal that FPX are going to back themselves down into.
Ezreal is probably for the best, to be honest, because it lets you kite out both the Camille and the Akali in these fights. As well as that, it's insanely safe in laning phase with the Tahm Kenshin. Oh yes, I absolutely love watching top laners play, and well, this guy's a carry top in and of himself, to be honest. Gimgoon is phenomenal on this champion. We saw how good he was at turning on the aggression last time around on the Fiora, but now he has his early game pick. He has that champion that he's pretty undefeated on this this split, and yeah, Renekton pocket pick. Oh.
Gragas support, Cannon top lane, Kleptomancy, Cannon coming in for Lies here. As the classic Cannon versus Renekton matchup is going to go live here for the second game of FPX versus LGD. How does this matchup work, Ibris?
Thank you for asking me the top lane question. Sadly, no Rumble this time around, so I can't tell you everything, but this is definitely a Cannon-favored matchup. You take the E Lightning Rush level 1, and then you just dance around auto-attacking with the Kleptomancy. Renekton really good at bullying other melee top laners, but Cannon, of course, very good at bullying melee top laners in general, and Renekton is certainly melee himself. You can just kite him out with the Cannon pickup. But Gimgoon, if he manages to get on top of Lies, Kleptomancy top laners notoriously squishy across the board. So we could very well see this Cannon. Was it confirmed that Kleptomancy was picked? Because you could see the aftershock from Cannon as of recent as well.
We
and I'd
could,
say that
but
maybe a possibility.
I think that Kleptomancy can probably the go-to right now, but I wanted to ask, since still the pre-revision on the batch of that was previous to the revision of the crit items, could we expect to see an Essence Reaver on the Renekton?
Essence Reaver is a fairly decent buy as second or third item. You can rush it if you want, but Hydra is still the go-to, and maybe still, yeah, a very valid choice. I'd say Black Cleaver is probably your go-to as a first item because you need the movement speed from the Phage to be able to catch up to this Cannon if you want to threaten him past the level 6 mark. As well as that, very difficult to get full efficiency of the Essence Reaver when you're playing against such a slippery opposing number. But it does look like we'll get one last look at the lineup to see.
Last look at the lineups, and yet again, very neglected on the tank department. Both very on the tank department here from both teams as we head into the Summoner's Rift for the second game of this best of 3 series. The first strategy is going to be an Infernal, and FPX are once again on the blue side with LGD on the red side, and the game is on. LGD, yo.
FPX. No, okay, I know. Gimgoon!
No. He's forcing the slice and dice for the first level of his abilities.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate, but actually, we said that Aftershock was a real possibility with Kleptomancy being the favourite, but this time around, it's Airy Cannon going for that harass early against Gimgoon, pressuring at the Renekton. You have to, you know, trying to prolong the lane phases as long as possible, get as much harass down as possible. But on the topic of lane phases and your all-time favourite rune of Kleptomancy, look at Doinby's Karma.
I'm looking at the Karma, and there is a Kleptomancy in her hand. There's a Frost Queen's Claim. However, Lies is packing Summonary.
Summonary, yep. On this Cannon is a good harass tool, of course. Just further augments the pressure coming out of this Renekton. Probably for the best that Gimgoon was only forced to take E and not Flash, because it does mean he's to this Cannon should Lies misplay, and we've seen that Lies, he's a little bit inconsistent, especially compared to the sheer amount of aggression coming out of Gimgoon in this early game. Now, Yuki, he has played Akali in the past, but I'm not too sold on it simply because this Akali was clearly
out of LWX and they heal at a crisp.
Yeah, really good. From said, you know, whether it's this guy's fiddlesticks, he doesn't need it. He is Gragas, but I was gonna say Karma's a little suspect with the Ezreal rush simply because this champion does not get as much efficiency out of the Ardent Sensor as some of your more traditional hyper carries or the crit 80 carries, but you have that Kindred jungle take advantage of it, and now you also have Condi perhaps looking to take advantage of Doinby's flashless mid laner or just get the Skull Crab.
So different approach. Early game, Condi didn't go for the red buff of
Chris?
Tion.
He did. He did go for the attempted steal. He got the
Did he-
steal, and then
He got both red buffs? Are
wandered
you
out.
kidding me? He did. Oh no, this is horrible. Tion can promote a against against his jungle opponent because he has the
Alright.
red buffs.
You've seen
Okay.
10 stacks Kindred at level 13. 13 minutes into the game. Now you're ready for 1 stack Kindred at 13 minutes into the game. Things are looking pretty fine across the board for LGD. Actually, they have that counter pick top that it comes from. It's just the CS.
Disgusting. Stop lies.
Yeah.
Enough.
Still got his Doran's blade, still full health. Wise just having the time of his life in this lane, shredding out his opposing number. Gimgoon, this Renekton is a lane bully, but hello, you're a melee lane bully. Meet the ranged lane bully, but his lane bully, RD.
Oh, going straight for Doinby yet again. 3 men gank in the mid lane. Doinby without a flash has nowhere to go but back to base as Connie secures first blood for LGD. Now Tion actually is in the mid lane trying to prevent any type of damage to his
Hookshot
structures,
soon.
but it's a 1v3 scenario here.
Okay, shot was coming out soon, so there was the teleport coming out of Doinby to catch the farm and also dissuade any sort of follow-up shenanigans from the LGD gaming lineup. No flash on LGD though are the engage tools of this LGD gaming lineup for the next couple of minutes before Kennen starts joining in these fights. So there's a good amount of breathing room, and you see just how seamlessly the transition of the CC here is. Doinby without that flash earlier, as you said, because of that gank from Condi. And, you know, I've been pleasantly surprised with Condi's early game these past couple of series because he's renowned for kind of lulling around, not really doing all that much.
Oh my.
But this time, applying decent amounts of pressure.
Gimgoon already went back. He's already under half HP. He got himself a Doran's shield to pair up with his Doran's blade, plus refillable potions.
I
So
think he got a
forget
blade to
Renekton's
pair up with
early
his
game.
shield. But yeah.
He's got a shield and sword right now, but forget his early game. That's gone. That's dead and gone. Lies recognizing that Gimgoon conceded the early game over to him, went for the call himself to scale harder into the mid game, not allowing Gimgoon to. So FPX right now look in these first 5 minutes of the match.
I mean, you said forget the early game for Gimgoon, but he's got the sword and board. He's got the Doran's items that are only really effective in the early game. Not completely ripped right now, but you see Yuki maybe FPX committing a good amount of time looking for this Akali that isn't even leaving the turret. Just
RD's right around the
overextension,
corner
if anything,
as well.
but RD.
Didn't even notice RD is actually packing Relic Shield for that Gragas. Going in right now for the body slam, looking for Doinby, who does not have flash just yet, but he refrains going in as he spots down under in terms of CS. And he's fairly relevant considering that he has Kleptomancy in his favor. But definite lane priority in the 1v1.
And Ezreal in particular can't really trace, he said, especially with, yes, he did manage to weave one through it, which is why Kramer took a sizable chunk of health. But I'd say LWX's all-in potential not too great onto Kramer this early game, but maybe there's some all-in potential onto the top side as Gimgoon may find himself in a very precarious position.
Ooh, he has flash though, and Slice and Dice will give him 2 dashes away from
Maelstrom!
Lies as the slicing Maelstrom come on Gimgoon. In comes Condi as well. Hextech Ultimatum is not yet available as he is in level 5, but he's gonna get it after conceding this kill to Lies.
Still no flash coming at Gimgoon because he needs it to threaten any sort of a solo kill, any sort of lane pressure onto Lies longer the lane that goes on. As well as that, he kind of acknowledged he was pretty much dead either way, but as soon as Condi shows topside, you have the rest of FunPlus rotate decide in their shot calling towards this Infernal Drake. LGD
trade forces the flash out of Tion. Now everything breaks loose as LGD lose the Infernal Dragon, but they still get the kill out on Tion.
Kramer.
No ultimate available from Kindred means that Crisp and oh no, he left the completely left RD and inside the pit. A 1-for-1 trade, but the Infernal still goes down in favor of FPX.
RD going down there was actually really unfortunate for this LGD gaming lineup. Could have been a clean just slam through the FPX lineup after they overextended for the Infernal Drake, but here's a teleport.
Yes, Condi realized that there was a ward there.
Oh.
Chris teleports in, forces Condi out of the... Wait, no, he didn't. He's just forcing Condi to go around.
So this is a replay here of Yuki committing in to the Dragon Pit, try and trade back onto a kill. Ideally assassinate the Kindred, so even without the jungler, they can threaten the steal on the Drake. Did not go down that way, sadly, as you see here. Now, Kramer jumped a bit late, and then there's just flash after flash after flash. and too thick for time from your
This
Cosmic,
is-
from your Q. You want to threaten people in the lane instead of playing this sustained game. But
Can we off
having to
now?
play. Give it another 3 minutes. Oh, I was excited. Then I was like, slice, and then the dice was backwards and not forward.
No, it's not gonna
Give
happen.
me some
I mean,
aggression. This
Gimgoon
is
has
some aggression.
no aggressive
Vardy.
items. Artie's around the mid lane. He's constantly been around the mid lane, but basically forcing Chris to roam with him, to accompany him in his roams in order to keep up the pressure and not allow FPX to do anything in the solo lanes. But the thing is, by accompanying RD in his, allowing Kramer to gain priority over LWX.
I mean, as well as that, you have pretty much losing solo lanes across the board for FPX. You said they're kind of stemming the bleeding here with their good rotations with whatnot, but the losing matchups are really coming out in full force.
It was actually not just a 3-for-0, it was a 4-for-0 as LWX also perished. Oh, no, he didn't. So it's a 3-for-0. Now, with FPX in with the short end of the stick here, they're trying to regain their pressure. They're trying to regain their caliber, really. And Gimgoon finally bought his first aggressive item in the form of a Phage, but it's a little bit too late since Slice already holds a full Proto Belt plus a source in his inventory. Still no Towers of Collapse, but this time around, LGD are going to secure the Infernal Dragon for themselves, matching the Infernal Dragon already in the inventories of Fun plus Phoenix. So the Herald is still a possibility here, 14 minutes into the game. DQ is circling around the mid lane. On the bottom, you have Kramer actually solo, with RD being a little bit behind. FPX want to force the 2v1, but Kramer's having none of it here right now. Mid lane we're watching right now with RD still trying to pressure out Doing B, not allowing him to really up. He's 20 CS behind Yuki, which is very relevant considering that it is an Akali. You don't want the Akali to be that far ahead in the mid lane, being free to her own devices. Ebreeze, are you still with us, friend? I am keeping on going. Low action game right now is the as FPX are trying to stall out the game, trying to get some itemization to fight off LGD. LGD with their foot on the pedal, applying a lot of pressure here. 3,000 gold lead against FPX. This is not what we saw one, and LGD are really bringing it home here. Or I want to bring it home against FPX as Condi looking to pressure bot yet again, trying to go for the same aggression that we saw in game number 1, but this time so much more proficient in these bottom lane ganks.
Good wheel taking their AC, and yes, we are back here now with LGD actually cementing their lead even further, having a good amount of pressure being dictated towards the solo laners, as you said, and the bottom lane just going in complete favor of LGD right now. Kramer with this good lead in the early game can start to really pressure out his opposing number, can really start to 1v9, as we've said in the past. Kramer is an absolute god.